Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playin podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Coriel, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know I'm bringing you the information and the conversations to help you make the money and get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And on today's episode, you are going to be blessed because we got a kingdom couple in the building. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having us.
Today we have the Iwegbus.
The Iwegbus.
Okay, that's better. Because what she said in the beginning,
Girl, don't mention what I said at first. That's between us. That was off air.
No, this is better. This is better.
Okay. Iwebu.
Yeah, I don't even say that either.
Okay, I'm trying.
Iwebu.
Say it, sir.
Iwebu.
Iwebu.
There you go.
You gotta do like a little
the chin.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna work on
it.
Chin. But I'm super excited to talk to y'all.
Yes.
Anytime I have the opportunity to get a happy married couple
Come on, happy.
in the happy
Yeah,
in the building,
yeah.
it's important as an example for representation. I think so often, and I know y'all are younger than me, so I'm not even gonna say like our generation, but I'm going to still say our generation because I don't know how old y'all are. Maybe I'm not that much older.
We
I don't think
millennials.
so.
I am, but whatever.
Oh, he's 8 years older than me, so you never know.
Really?
Yep.
We'll talk after.
Yeah.
But I think so many of the new generation are starting to be turned off by the idea of marriage because they see marriage as like prison.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to give my life. I don't want to be under somebody. I don't want. And so I think seeing young, fun, healthy love is just so important.
Yes.
As we're trying to rebuild the foundation for the Black family.
Come on.
That part,
yes,
right?
Rebuild.
So tell me the foundation of your relationship. I know that you are new here in Atlanta.
Yes.
You came from the Midwest.
Yes.
Shout out to Kansas City.
Yes, shout out.
But talk a little bit about how the transition, the move, changed your relationship.
Yes, so we moved to Atlanta, June of last year.
2022.
Yes, we made the decision the year before that. As soon as we made the decision, our relationship got better. To be honest, it was the idea of knowing that we could reinvent ourselves. It was the idea of knowing that we could reinvent our marriage, our family. You know, just like they say, Jesus wasn't able to perform his miracles amongst his hometown. It's because they were familiar with him. They like, Jesus doing what? That's Jay, you talking about Lil Jay? Like, come on, y'all. And it was kind of the same thing. Like, we knew we were assigned to something big, but we also knew that required us literally completely dying to the old version. And it's hard to do that when you're around the same people, especially if those same people are not growing either, because growth recognizes growth. But if they're not growing, it's like, what is this? So as soon as we moved to Atlanta, we had no friends, you know, a little bit of community for me with the Christian hip hop, but it was like the clouds were removed, the noise from behind in our hometown was removed, and we were able to finally step into what we feel like God has been calling us to since we've gotten married.
Yeah. One of my mentors say there's power in proximity,
Yes.
and I believe that's here in ATL. I mean, it's what you make it, obviously, but where we came from, it was just so comfortable. We were so used to you could kind of be the bigger fish in the pond in a way, especially if you make a certain amount and all that. And you know, we wanted to get out of our comfort zone. We knew that was greater in us, and like she said, we came from a lot of noise, and we may get into that a little bit later. But we got from that and was like, let's reinvent ourselves. Let's go after all that God has for us.
Yeah.
Let's just go and let's do it. Let's get in rooms that we never would have been in before.
Yeah.
Try things that we haven't tried before.
Yeah.
Just getting out of that comfort zone and just growing and developing. So we've been relentless on this since we got here, and it's been amazing. The benefits of that are our marriage.
Oh, baby,
way
everything's
doper
up.
because
Everything.
when
Everything.
you walking in purpose, it's something about that just makes us thrive. Like especially because we do this together
We
too.
do everything together.
We do pretty much everything together, man. After we get done doing certain stuff, I'm just turned
Look
on
at
by
y'all.
her.
Look at y'all.
I'm
like,
turned on
Jesus,
by
where's
her.
he
Like
going?
after we get done doing something, I'm like, man,
Baby,
Yeah.
you did
there's something
that.
about how
No,
you
seriously.
said that. It was,
Yeah.
ooh, had some.
Don't be making the faces in the studio
like,
now.
sir,
Y'all have to wait. You see
professional
it,
setting.
right? You saw the face.
I felt it.
You felt that.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think when we met at the podcast event, you all
Yes.
introduced yourselves as, you know, we do. You said something about being a kingdom couple, and I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
That to me, the responsibility that comes along along with that,
Ooh,
right?
Jesus.
The perception that comes along with that,
the weight,
all of the things. And so you mentioned, you know, the voices like kind of following you, and some of the things that you were, I don't want to say like running from, but running from kind
absolutely.
of, you know, I'm going to leave this to start anew. So what were
Yeah.
some of the challenges that you were experiencing back home that you have now kind of been able to release yourself from?
Yeah, so it's funny because the biggest part of our testimony is actually how we met and how we got together. And we believe it's very important to be a representation of people that don't do it perfect and you still can thrive. Yeah. So the baby mamas, whatever your story is, you still can thrive, but it takes a different type of fight. So when me and Namdi met at church, we were at the same church singing on the praise team together, and he had proposed to his ex, what was this, New Year's Eve?
Yeah, 2014.
14
going into 15.
We sure did get together in 15. That's crazy. Yeah. So January, and whatever viral was back then, the proposal went viral. He did it in front of the church. Everyone knew about it. Yeah. They silently broke off their engagement a few months later. No one knew about that. Well, very few people knew. It wasn't as loud as the engagement, I'll say that. And then here I pop up pregnant by him in September. And so the people were like, what? Wait, I thought you got a daughter and you was engaged to her. Now, who is this little, and mind you, I only been at that church for like a year. So a lot of people didn't really know me. They like, who is this homewrecker? Like, what? That's my sis that was supposed to be married to him.
They wasn't already really messing with you.
They
like
were
that
absolutely
anyway,
not
so
messing with me.
More of a reason to not mess with you.
They were absolutely not messing with me already, and it was a fight to really, you know, exist there. But yeah, so once I showed up pregnant, that was even more of a reason for them to be like, oh, homewrecker. I knew it was something about her. So we fought to stay there. We tried. Unfortunately, our leaders at that time definitely removed their hands from us, whatever that means. And we can get more into that later. But just fighting the rumors of who I was, the rumors of what he was, and the truth. Like actually getting away from the truth, because we did move sloppy. We did move quick. I was 21 at that time, so incredibly emotional. First time being pregnant, I'm like, how you get pregnant the first time having sex? What does that mean? What is this?
God,
girl, are you sure? What type of is this? And so emotional, moved, reckless, but as well as on top of the rumors, just it was a lot. It was a lot to get away from, which is why we knew eventually, girl, we try to move around, go to different churches. The town is this small. And so everybody knew about it after a while. And I was a public rapper at that time. So that was the noise, running away from the rumors and the sloppiness of kind of how we moved too.
Some people will never allow you to move forward. They want to hold you to your past.
Yes.
And so, like she said, we had left that church and everything because my pastor at that time, he disagreed with us even being together, regardless of the child or whatever. He knew I had been broken up with the other girl, whatever, but it created a lot of chatter and mess there. We then went away, then came back. That was my wise idea, and she followed me because it was somebody who I looked at as like, you know, a spiritual mentor that I wanted to be up under. It's like I had grew up spiritually there, so went there. Just was a lot of battles, uphill battle. No, you know, people they gonna perceive you a certain way off of your mistake, and they wanted to hold us to it. And it was like, all right, we need to start looking elsewhere. And once we thought we were gonna look elsewhere to another church that our friends were at, they're on their way out of their church. Yeah. And then the trip to ATL, and we're like, how about we just make a move? Yeah, let's just make the move.
And it wasn't normal back where at home. It wasn't really normal for people to move. We come here and people that we just meet moving to LA. We're like, wait, y'all really be moving around like this? And coming from a small country town where everyone knows everyone, again, it wasn't normal to move. But after year 4, because year 1 through 3 was fighting them. Year 4 was like, wait, people moving on and living with their lives, and we still worried about them. Like, wait, how about we actually live? And how about we actually flip this thing into a message? And as soon as we open our mouth, people are like, yeah, all of us got a baby mama, got a baby daddy, got a past.
All of us have made some mistakes.
All of us have made some type of mistake.
That's washed up under the blood of Christ is what we believe. And so,
and you can move past it.
So who knew that they was being messy down at the church?
Yeah. For sure.
I don't know if y'all have seen me talk about religion on the show, but you have. I don't know Bible verses, but I
Yeah.
know the Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't attend church in real life, but I do visit YouTube quite
Okay.
often. I have a perception of church people that y'all don't necessarily
Yeah.
fall into. I will say that.
Girl,
Thank
no.
God.
Not at all.
Right? I don't necessarily fall into
We
that.
probably
but
heathens.
From the outside looking in, I would not imagine, because I always say, like, I grew up going to church, but I didn't grow up in the church. Which
Okay,
there's
got
a
it.
difference, right?
For sure.
I would not imagine, like, even when you mentioned, like, they weren't fooling with me at first. Like, why is that what y'all worry about down at this church? Ain't y'all supposed to be praising the Lord?
So
I don't.
like
Yeah.
high school almost. Like, you know, we had a
Yeah.
young church. It was probably like mainly in their 20s. Our pastor was, you know, in his 20s at
Yes.
that time too. But he just had an anointing. He had, you know, had that. And so everybody's going, they called it the city's church. Like they was in
Gotcha.
there. Everybody
Yeah,
was.
it was literally
in
the
there.
church of the
Yeah,
city.
so it ended up
Literally.
getting kind of high schoolish. And if someone from the head don't really call it out from the pulpit and say, hey, we ceasing this mess. Like, this ain't what we do. This ain't how we operate. Then everybody gonna do what they do, just like when you was at in your high school years.
Yeah, and as I'm getting older though, and having made so many mistakes, I absolutely understand people on the outside like, girl, I'm cool. Like, I'm cool on that. It's super messy. But I look at it the same as a business. Like, this will only thrive to what you will accept and what you don't accept. And so a lot of times we look at the people, I look at the head. And so I'm like, what is he allowing, or she, or whoever is in charge? Like, what are they allowing? Because people are going to be messy. And knowing at that time that I was surrounded by 20-year-olds, they trying to find their husbands. They like, I mean, we love Jesus, but like, how can we find a man of God? That's the real deal. And so again, now being older, I'm just understanding people's walks. And so when you put a bunch of different walks in one building, it's gonna be messy.
Yeah.
For
Regardless
sure.
of whether y'all are there to praise the Lord
Oh,
or
they-
not, because people are people.
Yes, everybody is not going to church to praise the Lord either. Some people are going to look good, like I said, to find their man. Some people are literally going because they are getting paid. There's plenty. I've doing ministry and I'm being a worship leader. I meet people, I'm like, you do not know God. You don't know him. You are hired to do this. And so now having a broader perspective of church, I'm like, just because they up in this mug don't mean they good people and they really actually in this thing to be better. And so I'm way more forgiving, one, because I also know what it feels like to be looked at crazy, number one. But also just going through life, you like, girl, people be going through it.
That is
People be
facts.
going
And
through
until
it.
you go through something, you don't usually give other people grace.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
need that grace
Okay.
yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
that has been a big deal for me. Is I grew up in church my whole life. My mom was the assistant pastor. My uncle was the pastor. I was the drummer, the photographer, the worship leader, the praise dancer, the everything you can think of. I was in it, and because that was all I knew, seeing a woman pregnant would be like, girl, how you gonna get pregnant before you get married? Just real judgmental. Then you get pregnant and you're like, this can
This is
happen
how.
quickly without you being out here bad. That was my first time being intimate with this man. And so you grow up, you see it, you experience, and you're like, okay, this is how people become people. You don't know people's upbringings. You don't know what they saw. You don't know what's normal to them either.
Yeah.
So I imagine, did you grow up in the church too, Namdi?
I grew up in it. Probably wasn't as like in it as her. We was in and out to different churches. But yes, I also grew up in the church.
Yeah.
I imagine the pressure, and it's just my perception, it might not be real at all, but is there pressure to not necessarily be perfect, but to live out this life according to the scripture, you know, like to the T?
Yeah.
Is that an expectation, and how do you manage that?
And I think we might have different perspectives.
What's the
'Cause
so?
not for me.
Which go ahead.
Like I don't feel. And when you say pressure, do you mean from people or
From
your
people.
personal?
No,
Okay.
from people. Like, you're the kingdom couple. You're
Got
supposed to
it.
have it all together and
Yes.
never do anything wrong.
Right,
And-
right. No.
No.
No. And I feel like that's a really big part of our ministry and our brand is to show up authentic. And so that's why you said, I wouldn't even imagine y'all would be, because it's like we're real people. We're not pretending to be anything. Like, I go in rooms, they see a tattoo, they like, lipstick,
Math ain't
makeup.
mathin'. Wait a minute.
Wait, I thought you were supposed to be holy. Like, is that what that looks like? And so, no, I don't deal with that pressure, but I also have a very, y'all gonna do what y'all do. Like, I have a mindset where I'm like, I could sit and think about how y'all would perceive this, but I know that my character speaks for me. So once you get around me, you speak to me, you're like, oh, that is a woman of morals. Oh, that is a woman of character. And I also think I think I am created to represent how multifaceted this walk can look.
Like you can show up fly, baby.
What?
Yeah.
I had blonde hair, blue contacts when I was rapping Christian hip hop, and that was what was attractive, because a lot of times people from afar can look and see that's so far away. How is walking with God obtainable when it seems like it's so distant? They seem so poised. They seem so this. Like, no, I get ratchet. I'll twerk in the living room with my friends, and I still love the Lord, and I'm still called, and I'm still assigned. And so I don't feel that pressure.
Do you curse?
If I hit my toe hard enough.
Okay. Yeah. But it's not a normal part of conversation.
No, it's not in my conversation. And that's not even like a holy thing. It's just personally trying to be as professional as I can be, counseling people, dang near being a therapist. I don't think it's becoming, but that's not nothing that I'm like, oh, God told me to do this. A lot of things aren't like God told me. It's just like,
it's not for me.
Why? It's not my thing. But I don't know. I think Namdi might feel different. Namdi is the heart of the brand. I'm the decision. Let's do it. Let's get it done.
I try my best, and even back then, the reason why it took us so long to get out of that situation and just out of that mental fog was I try my best to display Christ in all places. And I know that even during those times, had been a stain in all those things before I even met her. And one slip up could be a black eye to the gospel. Like, some people who were following me, they no longer would follow me after that. It's like, hold on. He was the dude that was on the worship team with his hands up, and now he got to, And so I wear the banner of just a Christ, man. I just want to make sure I just represent it in the right way. I always do, and not saying that we're gonna be perfect or anything like that. I think that's what actually kind of loosened me up a little bit, because I think before her and having that situation, I probably wasn't the best person to be around. I was just maybe was a little bit judgmental.
Ooh,
and
very
all those
arrogant.
things. Yeah, she said that when first. She said you was arrogant. You was
super arrogant.
But after that happened, it was like, man, no, you need to show grace and love to all, man, because you're just one little step from being backsliding all the way back to what you was on before. So showing that grace and love for all, and man, that's why I think that so many people are attracted to us, because they know that we display, man, this is what happened. This is how we messed up, man. But guess what? God still loves us. We still thriving, man. It's not over.
Yeah, I love that. I love, again, the representation that you can love the Lord and you can twerk a little bit. You can, because we are all human. We do different things. We're multifaceted. You might get this on Monday, and on Tuesday I'll show up somebody else.
Yeah,
you just might.
You just might. Yes.
It was so funny though, because I met y'all at that event. I think we followed each other. We had DM later that night, and then I went to your podcast page, and I saw a video that I had already seen.
I know,
and I didn't know it was y'all.
Yeah,
really?
And so it was a video that I think I don't even know like what defines viral, but it had been going around, right? And it was a video where you were talking about how Namdi helped soften you up.
Got it. Yes.
Right, and so I want you to share that. Make this little clip go viral. Okay. I want you to, because it was such a powerful conversation of how, we hear all this talk around, masculine women, you got to soften up, but a masculine man will soften you up. And that is literally what you were saying, that he wasn't even trying or making you, but it's like his leadership, right, had this natural effect. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the exact thing was his gentleness, actually. And I think because I arrived, now people have been beating me up for saying alpha woman, because they're saying this is not a such thing. So a masculine woman, whatever you want to say, someone that is uncooperative, someone that is not submissive, I was all of that. And I feel like God spoke through him, because he was like, if you show up super masculine, like sit down, shut up, I would have fought that. But that was a little hard on the agreement.
No, for real. No, that's what I had in my mind.
Oh, really?
It's like I'm not about to try to war with this woman. Good thing I had been in my 20s, like I was going into the 30s by the time we met. She was turning 22, I was turning 30.
Yeah.
And I had been in enough toxic relationships to know that you're not about to argue somebody into who you want them to be.
Come on.
Like it's better to grace them into that. And if you got somebody who also loves the Lord, like you love the Lord too, take it to your prayer closet. Take it to him and allow the Holy Spirit to do the work that you just cannot do naturally. Like, I cannot change her. It's going to have to come on her own. So I would pray, and I'd be like, Lord, I got this woman. And Lord, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Seems like I might be going down the same road as I was before, Lord.
Jesus.
I need your help. Because I'm not about to fight with her.
Yeah.
I'm not about to go back and forth with her.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I don't want to argue no daggone more. Lord, could you do the work? Lord, you said bring it to you, and you said that you would, if it be your will, you would change it.
Yeah.
And what started happening was she would, certain things would happen, and you would just come back to me and apologize, and I'm like,
yes.
wow,
Yeah.
okay, I'm about to keep coming to you on that, Father.
Right. This is the
Thank
answer.
you.
Yeah, I think in the moments where I wanted to argue and I wanted him to chase after me, I wanted him to be toxic with me, because that was my definition of love. Like, if you ain't following me out the door, do you love me? Like, what is this? And so it was him operating in gentleness as a man. It actually made my masculinity flare even louder. And I'm like, how sick is this? That my husband is actually more gentle than I am. And I'm the mother, and I'm the wife, and he is being the example of a nurturer in our home in a way, and not in a emasculating way, but just in the softness and keeping the rhythm in our home. And I'm the masculine one, and so it just felt off. And seeing him operate in gentleness, when I wanted to rah-rah, he like, babe, I am pausing this conversation. I'm not about to go here with you. And he'll go upstairs, and I just sit there like, dang, I made a fool out of myself over and over and over again. And it honestly wasn't until I feel like I was going to lose him. So I had a dream. One night, and this was probably in the midst of I wouldn't say the worst that I've been, but definitely masculine, definitely aggressive, angry. I was just so angry by the abandonment that I've experienced in my life. It had to be after an argument. I had a dream, and in this dream, I was dropping off my kids to Namdi and his new wife, and I actually knew this woman. I ain't gonna ever tell you who she was, but she's taking the kid, my oldest, out of the car, and she said, "TK, this is all you had to do." And she was just exemplifying a feminine, submissive woman. Girl, I woke up from that dream. I was like, where my man at? I took care of him, and I said, oh, I'm changing. I'm changing from this day forward, because it didn't make sense anymore. Like, I know a lot of women deal with like, oh, I'm a boss at my workplace, and I am a leader at my job, and I am an entrepreneur. And I get that, sis, because there are times you have to be assertive, because men will try to play you. So there is an area for that. But if you are not careful, that will bleed into your home. And it was bleeding into my home. With my career as a Christian hip hop artist, I was around men all the time. So I had to make sure I was like, don't try it, don't flirt with me, please don't be weird, don't do none of this stuff. But it came into my house, and I was bossing him around. So he taught me submission by actually submitting to God, being gentle, being self-controlled, having the fruits of the Spirit in every aspect. And it was just like, okay, now I look like a fool.
And being the example.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
You've done videos, and when you're talking about submission, that even puts it in perspective to me. I've never personally had a problem with the concept of submission, because I feel like, if you pick this husband, you should be okay submitting to him. You picked him. Like, who you picked? Your choice. You picked him, submit to him.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
So I've never personally had a problem with submission, but I think you helped me with a better understanding, not of submission, of nurturing.
Oh, okay.
And you were talking about how, you can nurture by nurturing your home, nurturing the environment. I'm like, first of all, you gotta follow your girl, okay? Because sis be spitting, all right? Sometimes I'm like, and I sent the videos prior to this video to my husband. But when I saw that video, I was like, oh, I hope he don't see this video. He gonna have some pressure for your girl. She's like, yeah, you gotta do this with the house, and you gotta do this.
Yeah,
like, he gonna see this. But it really helps you to paint a different picture of what this can look like.
Yes.
And giving practical examples. You were talking about, you know, the way you speak to your family, the way you talk to your friends, just adding love to the environment. And I'm like,
that's
it.
Yeah, God took me on a journey. I was in the line of picking my daughter up, and I was like, God, what is a woman? What is that? And the word just dropped in my spirit, a nurturer. And so I'm Googling or finding the definition, and it's to cause a thing to grow, to encourage development. And so I'm reading the definition. I ain't even get into the Bible. I'm just looking at this definition, sitting there like, how am I encouraging my environment to grow? From my kids, for my friends, how am I motivating my environment? How can I walk in a room and almost be like a bucket of water and just pouring water on everyone, on the seeds that they've planted? You can do that. And even speaking to my kids. And so nurturing isn't, although I was looking at it, and I feel like we think nurturing is a mother thing, right? Like you nurture your child by nursing them, but it's every aspect of life. Like how can I make everything around me grow? How can I do that? And oftentimes, a lot of it is through our words, which I know has been, it's funny that God took me on that journey because words was a problem for me. I'm like, I'm gonna say what I gotta say, get to the point, and you're gonna have to figure out in between. But he's like, no, that's not healthy. You cutting people, chopping people up as you're trying to encourage them. Because I encourage a lot of times just by like, you want to be like this anymore? Then get it done. It's like, no. That's not how you do it. And so a lot of things that I share, I get beat up first. Like, okay, this, and when I say beat up, just correct it. Yeah. This is not working. Yeah. Okay, now I share it on camera, and then women are like, oh my gosh, that's how you do this woman thing.
No, and I've been a beneficiary of her environment, how she does with her words. And I mean, I've seen her grow over time as far as that goes. I mean, she, you know, a woman don't realize how much her words can really push a man into who he truly can be. Like, you can talk him up to be the president, or you can diminish him to a peasant. Like, and that's what she did. She would talk me up. It's like, I just had a video here recently. Like, I'm like, the words that she spoke out of her mouth made me go and be the manager that I was and start making the money that I was. I wasn't, I guess, quote unquote, reaching high value status as far as the income goes, until it came out of her mouth, and just how she was and how she spoke and how she talks to our kids. And they're more of like, when we hear about our kids at school, they're like, yeah, Brooklyn, she's a leader and she's doing these things. And where does she get that from? Her mother, every morning, she has a way, you do like a ritual, like this ritual that she does with her. And if I'm driving her, she's like, I'm about to drop her off. All right, baby. She's like, Daddy, you didn't say what Mommy says. I'm like, okay, what is it again?
What is Mommy
and
saying?
she goes through this whole ritual. What is it like again?
Yeah, it is, I am the head and not the tail, light in the darkness, salt of the earth, and a leader and a follower of Jesus.
Yeah, and she's finishing her words as she's doing
she finishes
it. She finishes it every time. And again, like, it's like I said, just out of her mouth, she's created just the most loving environment, not just by design, how she's made our house a home, but also, like I said, with her comforting words and her encouraging words. Her words, man, women's words, regardless, are so
can build you up or
so
beat you down.
Powerful. Most men's, I bet you, love language like mine's is words of affirmation.
For sure.
And so that's where we have a lot of times going wrong, and that's where you'll see a lot of men kind of doing like the whole switching to different races, as far as African American men, is because they just need somebody who's gonna be like, talk to them right and honor them right with their words. I was about to do that till I met her. We was friends first, and I told her, I said, hey, listen, I said, I think I'm about to get me a white girl. I ain't gonna lie, I'm about to get a white girl.
Yeah.
I said, I'm about to do that, and she was like, no, I think you should. I think
just wait.
Just wait a little bit. And this is when, I didn't know we would end up going to that level. But it's just that I was tired of like the whole neck snapping and talking crazy and getting in my face.
They about to beat you up.
Like, I'm not saying that's not every. Again, I'm not.
No, they ain't. Not on this channel.
This is not a general. This is not a generalization saying that every woman is like this. But unfortunately, I've heard too many stories like mine where you have these aggressive women who's talking to you and just up in your face and just almost dang near there provoking you. It's like, no. It's so that a man wants a different environment, man. Calm him down. Speak him up with your words. That's what I believe in. You've done an amazing job of it. I can go on and on about that.
And girl, don't laugh at me and don't be mad, but I be stealing your little line. Okay. I be telling my husband, I love the way you did that, man of God. Yes, man of God. And I'm like, baby, you know who I got that from, right?
I love that. You know how many women tell me that?
The world out here, girl.
Oh my
Tell us what to
God,
say.
that is so bomb.
I be like,
no.
yes, man of God.
I literally was at an event with a lady that follows me, and she told me the same thing. And I'm listening to her interact with men, and she's like, oh, "Excuse me, man of God." I'm like, yes, let's do it. And
so you're not only impacting your children, but
praise God.
Yes,
like
you're doing it.
I want that to be normal. Like I want us to rest and be comfortable with praising each other. Like Nnamdi, knowing his past with his exes, and unfortunately even with his mother, like just knowing the repetition of how he was talked to, and then falling in. I'm like, okay, I gotta break this cycle. And then even becoming a nurturer, I'm like, why is this so hard for me to do this? And so that took me on my own self-discovery on why I can't do this. And I say it all the time. I'm like, it was pretending a lot in the beginning of just like saying certain stuff, just like, oh, you got that, daddy, and just saying daddy over and over again. And now that's what I really call him. But yeah, I'm glad I'm encouraging y'all to do it.
Coming back. Please don't say daddy again. Girl.
Hey,
he cannot control.
I'm sorry,
it works.
And you know what?
Are y'all seeing this?
She ignites me with him. I ain't gonna lie.
Works.
I ain't gonna lie.
Y'all better be ready.
It's so simple though. But black women, to your point, most of our mothers were not soft and nurturing and loving. So we grew up seeing a black woman have to be strong or tough or figure it all out or never cry. Or, even if she has a husband, she still is not necessarily the softest woman that you've seen. So we think this is what being a black woman is. You got to have an attitude. You got to get them together. You got to tell them how you feel. You can't let nobody run over you. You can't, you can't let them make a foot. All of the things that we've been taught. And so it comes to a head. And then black men are like, well, damn, you gonna beat me down like this? I gotta go find somebody who's gonna build me up instead of beating me down. And we literally were just having a conversation with a happily married wife, and I asked her, can you give some advice to the single ladies? And she said, being kind goes a long way.
It's easy.
Black women are not taught to be kind.
No.
Being kind does not come naturally to us. Being strong comes naturally to us.
Not letting nobody play with you. You can't play on my time.
Right. This comes naturally to us. Being nurturing is not our norm. It's not our norm. And so I think having these conversations, being an example of it, giving practical examples of it, I think is so important, because we think that it has to look this way.
Right.
And I don't look that way. So if I don't look like that, I can't do it. Right.
Yes.
But it's like coming up with your own version of it.
Yes,
figuring
absolutely.
out what works for you.
And that's even our marriage. We had a video that we haven't done yet. I don't know if you remember, and we were talking about how even our roles aren't traditional in a way. Like I think we probably have a traditional marriage according to the world, but like in some cases, Nnamdi submits to a part of me that is a strength where he's weak, and vice versa. Like there are just things that he's like, hey, I'm not a you got that, and that's difficult to the world, but you have to literally be like, okay, this is what works for us. Like this ain't got nothing to do with y'all, and it just to go back to what you said, like what works for you. Even if you see me or you hear me saying the word nurturer, it doesn't look away. You make that. Like take the foundational things, take the practical things, and bring it in your home.
The word talks about submitting one to another. So sometimes, like I by reading that, I knew sometimes I needed to submit to her where she's stronger. I know a lot of times people say my better half, like she truly is my better half. Here recently, God showed me since we got here that she has a prophetic gift, and she kind of can see a little bit further than I can sometimes. It's kind of hard for a man to take the back seat and be like, dang, my wife kind of had the vision on certain things, but I can get cloudy, double think a little bit. I overthink some things, and she's more of a D, the high D. We talk about disc assessment. If you ever taken the disc assessment, the personality test, she's a high D, I'm a high I, and a high S. So sometimes I'm thinking and I'm going through all these different things, but she'll see something that I don't, and her percentage of actually it working has been very high. So or what'll happen is I'll try to take the road that I'm not listening to her. I'm like, man, get out here. I'm the leader. Get on. And I'll go this route, and she would kind of sit there like, who told you know? And God will reveal something to me that she had already said that was good. And I'm like, yeah, babe, I feel like God is saying this. Who else said that? That's what she said. Who else said that, babe? I just want to kind of know. And I'm like,
girl, he'll be hyping
presenting your idea to you. Why do they do that? How you gonna
come up with that? I told you that first. Yeah. He'll be hyped listening to somebody else.
That's just a man thing.
It is a man thing, but it also takes humility as a woman to be like, look, whatever way he gets,
however you get to it, as long as you get it,
just drive us the right way. You know, like, and it's been taking discipline from both of us because one, this wasn't taught. And then two, we probably don't fall in traditional roles. But back to the video that we didn't make, we were gonna make it because I'm like, it's probably a lot of people that feel like this. That's like, no, my wife is better at that. My wife handles the finances. That doesn't make him feminine and make me masculine. It just makes us wise to be like, you're smarter, and it's what works. Yeah,
he said it helped me. He didn't say necessarily what they gonna, what role that they got, what they got to play. That's not necessarily in there.
It's not necessarily defined.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you hear from God? What is that experience like?
A lot of ways, mainly dreams, but I don't want to say audibly, just the inner voice within. So there was this recent situation of a kind of another big transition that we're about to go to that I was so terrified to tell him about because I'm like, he's not gonna like this change that we're going through. But how I started hearing it, I just heard it in my spirit, like, you're not gonna be here long. You're not gonna be doing this long. This is not gonna happen over and over again. Just little small nudges, and then I'll see something, and it'll bring back the word that I heard earlier that week. God for me is very repetitive. He's like, you're gonna hear this and you're gonna get it and you're gonna understand it eventually, but mainly through his word. I was reading, I felt like the Lord was telling me to read Paul, just about his life for like a month now, and I just never got to it. I couldn't sit down to actually open up my Bible and like, okay, who's Paul? Let's see what it's about. Girl, first chapter, first verse, God's like, the immediate answer that I had been praying for, actually. He's like, there it is. There's your answer. And so a few ways: music, riding by myself, sitting with myself. I don't know if you ever prayed, and as you're praying for something, you answer it, and you're like, that's what I'm supposed to do with her. That's how I'm supposed to handle this friendship. Like, I answered myself. So sometimes it sounds like my own voice. Like,
that's what I was gonna. That sometimes is my confusion. It's like, well, is this me talking to me, or God, is that you?
That right there, and that's one of my biggest issues. Like, she'll tell you, I'll be like, sometimes I'm second guessing is because I feel like maybe this might be my flesh. This might not really be God. And so what I'll do a lot of times is go back to my prayer closet and say, Lord, it's your son again. You know me. You got to sometimes give me double confirmation. I remember seeing a video from, I believe, Mike Todd or something. And he was like, man, don't think that God can only answer you once. Ask him for confirmation again. He can do it over and over and over again. So I was doing that. And he'll bring that other confirmation and be like, no, this ain't you. This actually is what I want you to do. When I get that about the same answer about 2 or 3 different times, I'm like, okay.
This is you.
Yeah, this ain't. Yeah.
And I've been trying to encourage my husband as well, as far as like activating the faith to move quickly when you do feel like it's God. It's an exercise. Like, if you feel God is telling you to do something, you take months, that strength to know if it is God weakens. But if you're able to move a little bit quicker, like, okay, I feel like this is you, let me step out. And when you make that step, you'll be like, oh, this was not God. And I think that's a lot of times we're afraid to make the wrong move.
Yeah.
But that's actually how you learn to know if that's God. Like, oh, this is how, especially with us, it's a way that God moves with us. He'll share with me, and then Namdi will get it through a mentor. It's kind of been repetitive, but I tell everyone, like, the first time you hear it, just move on it. Don't go broke. Don't do crazy. Don't do crazy stuff.
Run with it now.
Don't run, but exercising it. Exercise listening and moving. Listen and move. Oh, go back, listen, move again. Listen again. And it's just kind of this walk of knowing him.
It's like he's walking with us every step of the way, even though when you just told me that the other day about just moving, just go ahead and make it a move. I had a mentor who got on me pretty heavily here recently, and he just was, as he's pounding on my chest, he's like, stop second guessing yourself. yourself.
Yeah.
Like, stop second guessing. Like, God has something for y'all. He wants to do this with y'all. And he was just saying all these different things, and she would come back and say something, not even knowing what he exactly said to me. It would say that same thing. I'm like, okay, Lord, I hear you.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a situation where you felt like God was telling you two different things?
Oh. Yes.
And in those moments, are you still able to submit to what he feels like God is telling him?
Not in the beginning of our marriage, baby. No. I'm like, you are dumb. This is stupid. This makes no sense.
My
We are
God
about
did
to
not say
crash.
that.
I know that's not God. And although it wasn't in some cases, decisions that you've made, that was not God, and we did kind of end up wrecking. That's how he learned, though.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like your child touching the stove. Like, I don't want you to touch this, baby, but you keep kind of playing with, just touch it. Bet you won't do it again. And so it's kind of the same thing. Like, I let him take the wheel. I'm praying in the corner, and I'm like, hey, throwing these suggestions, but he's a grown man. I'm going to let him do it. But, there's been times we've crashed. We've absolutely crashed.
That would probably be the situation where we went back after being gone for about a year, went back to our old church, the same people that we heard saying all the murmurs and talking. I felt like that was the only weird place I could learn for some reason. And so we was like, all right, we're going to go back there. And she got behind me. She's like, okay, I'm with it. I'm with it. And we went back and we had to, don't get it wrong. It was some things that was learned out of there. It was some good times out of there. I'm not going to make it like it was just the most horrible, but it was an uphill battle.
It was not good.
It wasn't good. She was
That was not my experience. That was not my experience.
She didn't really say how bad it was until we was on the other side of it. And she was like, every single week. And don't get it wrong, I also was having anxiety walking in there every single daggone week. And so we went through that, and when we got out of that, God said to me, okay, she submitted to you. That was probably like 2.5, 3 years that we went back. She said, it's your time to submit to her.
Yeah.
So as soon as we went, like, that's where Atlanta came into place. She was like, man, she was so hyped about Love. I said, what you think? You want to move there? She's like, yeah. I'm like, forget it. It's her time. I'm here, baby. I'm down to your feet. Whatever you want us to go do, now it's my time to do it. I put you through all that wreck, all that pain, all them people talking crazy, all them people not accept you, all that abandonment. Now I want to deliver you heaven. I want to give you something so great here on earth. I don't want to get in front of my Father and say, what did you do with the wife that I gave you? You sent her through all of that because you was being selfish, because you just wanted what you wanted, because that's the only person. Did you know that the word wasn't tied to only his mouth? Like, I got others. And then when I got here, I'm like, dang, I thought he was the coldest preacher ever.
Right.
I got here, it's like, dang, it's so many cold people. Like, I mean, what was I thinking? It was just so baby. And he's like, look, this is what I was trying to show you. And so, man, I had to kind of submit to her.
You don't know what you don't know until you realize you don't know it, girl.
Okay. That part. Okay, I ain't never heard nobody saying like that. That's good.
You know. I love that. Okay. So submitting to one another is truly the key. I wanted to ask you about the effects that parenting had on your relationship, but you all became parents. Well, you became a parent right at the beginning of your relationship.
Yes.
How was it learning each other while also learning to become a mother? And was the pregnancy the deciding factor on the relationship?
It was a heavy part of it, for sure. We were friends. We were hanging out almost every single day. He was my first friend in the church. So I was like, oh my God, a human is liking me. And so we were vibing, and like I said, get pregnant immediately. And now it's like, okay, I got to make a decision on what this is about to look like. And that was month 3 of us kind of hanging out and just moving around. So pregnant, I don't really know you. Like, let's be 100. I really don't know you. But now I'm dealing with hormonal weights of being a mother, and not only a mother, but a stepmom now. He had
because
two
he
kids,
already had
2 kids. 2 baby mamas. I know you don't like me saying.
What's she be saying it too. 2 baby mamas.
Yeah, 2 baby mamas. Like, two kids with other women.
2 kids with other women. I'm sorry.
It just sound like, I told her, it sound like 2 women in the street with Crocs and just fighting each other.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, 2 kids with 2 other women. But yeah, go
2
ahead.
children. I'm 21 at this time.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that looked like. He told me.
How old were the other kids?
At that time, 5 and 9.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 and 9, something like that.
Yeah.
The kids were fine, but being pregnant, which was, it seemed unbelievable. Getting to know a man, 2 stepchildren, 2 baby mamas. It was hell, honestly. I was incredibly depressed. I was incredibly suicidal. On top of that, the church home that I had completely abandoned me. No sisters, and even and when I say sisters in the church, and even my family, they were okay, but you know, I remember conversations of announcing that I was pregnant, and can you say the word abortion on here?
Girl, you can say whatever you want to.
Okay, so I mean, you know how they be like, you can't say certain words.
Yeah, so it don't get demonetized.
Well, don't say it then, because we need to monetize.
Okay.
Yeah. So eliminate. Yeah.
Not having
Terminating
the baby. Yeah,
yes,
okay.
Terminating. I remember having a conversation with someone that I esteemed very highly, and was like, I wish you could just terminate and it wouldn't be that bad. And so just rumors, getting to know him, but it was
a lot.
It was a lot.
And you were a baby.
And I was a baby. Like, this was my first real serious relationship on top of that. And so it was chaotic. It was not fun. Although there was like this underlining roar and strength from both of us. Like, I know this is chaotic, but this gonna work. Like, this something gotta come up out of this. It was too much. It was so weird how much we were dealing with. It was like, okay, we getting
Something gotta shake in all this.
we gotta be great. Like, y'all are way too mad at one girl in your church getting pregnant for like, this can't be what I'm seeing.
And everybody else is getting on too.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna be honest.
pregnant.
Exactly. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of my fight to stay in this was to prove them wrong in the beginning.
At first.
It was definitely at first. It was like, y'all are not about to ruin this. Like, I'm about to show y'all. You can get pregnant. You can be super mom. You can be the wife. You can do all of that. And so that kind of was the fight for a while. But yeah, it was. To answer your question, it was very, very, very difficult to find who we were. What was this? And then now you're a dad to my child, and I'm about to be a mom. What the heck?
Yeah, and I think it made us, like you said, kind of anchor in with each other. Because when she got pregnant, I was like, okay, we dating a little bit now, but this is like your 3rd kid with a 3rd woman. So what you gonna do? And I'm like, okay, I got to really look at this serious. Like, even though I wasn't really looking to get into any like deep relationship like that, I had already known my non-negotiables and all those things, and she matched it. I just wasn't really ready to go full deep like that so quick. But it made me hone in and be like, all right, cool. Let's see if this is actually something worth working on. Because even if she would have been the 3rd woman with my child, I wasn't just gonna force it. Wasn't gonna just force it. Even she knows it. Even when we were talking about marriage, I'm like, you sure you ready for that type of thing? I would quiz her and do all these other things. Like, man, you know that the percentages says that because how many divorces your mama had and my mom and daddy had, that we got a 200% chance of not making it.
Yeah.
I was like, do you know about that? Are you ready to really go through what we gonna have to go through? And you know, like she said, I believe that God had a divine assignment even with our mess up. He didn't want me to misuse the blessing that he gave me like I did, but he saw it and said, I'm gonna do something great with that, you know, and it did something. It washed my mindset of just you know how much I would idolize, you know, anybody that's in leadership or any of those things. Like taking that whole thing away and really focus my mind on him instead.
Yeah. Now being further ahead, also, I realized why it all happened as well. Like, a lot of us strive and we want better. And we see the future, and we can see our higher self, and we can see what we want to be, not knowing that comes with a death, and it comes with deconstructing, and it comes with the breakdown. And the breakdown could be your mama, your daddy, like, anything can get touched if it is getting in the way of you becoming that person. And so now looking back, I'm like, he had to touch all of that. He had to make me not feel loved in my hometown so I could move to Atlanta. Because if I was surrounded by love and I felt supported, I wouldn't be here. And so I think a lot of times we overlook the trauma, not knowing that can be a blessing for you. Like, you had to get out of that home. You had to get out of that relationship. You had to leave the hometown. So looking back, I'm like, It all needed to happen.
Yeah.
Everything needed to happen.
It happened. It didn't happen to us. It happened for us.
Absolutely.
We are not
Yes.
victims. We are victors.
Yes.
And after looking at, we had an unhealthy way of looking at it for a while, but now looking back, we like, thank God
Thank
that
you,
happened.
Lord.
Like I tell her all the time, I'm like, man, I would have been doing this. I would have been like,
Thank
Mediocre.
God you didn't go to the white side. You was headed
That
on
part.
across the
No,
street.
for
That
real.
part, that part.
Especially, I'm like now people been looking at me crazy, especially with
Super
all that's
crazy.
going on in the world.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
I'm so glad that God just had a divine redirection
Yes.
of my life, because man, where I was going was not what I really wanted. Truly was not what I really
Same
wanted.
here.
Not and going towards my purpose and calling was not gonna happen. I was just gonna sit up under somebody else's and just ride out some mediocre days. Nah,
I'm
real
riding
talk.
out mediocre days.
Yeah.
What would be, I would like for each of you to give advice for the women, for the fellas who aspire to create a healthy, happy marriage, healthy, happy partnership.
Yeah.
But they're struggling right now. They are
Okay.
single as hell.
Okay.
And they want to know,
Singles. Okay.
yeah, singles.
Okay.
Singles gonna looking for marriage.
They looking for, please,
Okay.
help
Yeah.
me. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, so as I coach women and talk to myself, one thing that I realize about women, and this is not everyone, but let me talk about me. I was absolutely lacking all levels of self-awareness. And I think that is the most, it's not being alpha, it's not being masculine. It is the most difficult thing that a man can work with is a woman not knowing she needs to work on some stuff. A woman not knowing she needs to go to therapy. A woman not knowing like, no, that's something I need to work with. Because if you do not know yourself, if you do not know, like we arrive to these men, what they call it, the representative, we show up as her, and it's like, the dopest thing you can do would be like, oh, I can cook. Yes, I do know how to take care of a home, and I am also actively working on abandonment with my family, and I am actively working on the rejection that I went through with my past. So arrive to, if you are single and you are watching this, arrive to the highest level of self-awareness that you can get to, so that when you meet your man, girl, y'all can go run after your mission. You don't have to spend years your man telling you got problems. I know I do, and I'm working on it. So you want to arrive knowing it's not perfection, but arrive to a place that you know what you got to work on and aggressively attack that. Because the more you become whole, the more you become healed, baby, you attracting it. It ain't nothing you got to chase. You're going to pull that and attract that in every direction. So I always say this everywhere I go. Women, arrive to the highest level that you possibly can of self-awareness, please.
Yeah. I would say for the men, number one, get your relationship solid as far as your spirituality. Point blank, period. Get to know the Lord by yourself. Really get some time with Him. Make sure that that's the anchor of all things, because you're gonna need that going into a marriage. Sometimes I don't necessarily like her in some seasons. Sometimes we be at it, but yeah, right. But at the end of the day, I don't answer to her. I answer to Him, and so I don't treat her maybe the way that she's treating me. I would treat her with grace and love because of the grace and love that I've gotten through my Lord and Savior. Like, so just making sure that you have that spiritual life. Make sure that's sound. Make sure that that's the anchor. Number two is making sure that you got non-negotiables. Your non-negotiables, man, you need to have it. What is it that you do not want? What is it that you do want? They gotta have this. I mean, I kind of, they may call me shallow, but one of the things that I wanted is that I wanted to make sure she had some pretty feet.
My God.
Okay? And so one of the first things that I saw, and I promise you, this was a deal breaker because it was a deal breaker in other relationships. And I literally cut off something because I'm like, yeah, you got that I can't be with you.
She had a corn? What was
No,
it?
I had somebody who says her big toe was just a little bit too big or something. I was like, I never even seen it, but she kept saying it, and I was just like, she's like, you a little bit too much into that. I don't want to show. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, it's okay. You don't even have to show me or whatever. Like,
That's deep. Now that is deep.
Yeah, saying something like that, I was just like, yeah, I don't think that's going to necessarily work. But no, what's your non-negotiable? I don't care how shallow it is. I had a double standard. I did not want somebody else with kids. I already had two.
Right.
So I didn't want, like, if you come with two, then now we just finished. We don't have
Right.
no room for two more. Knowing your non-negotiable. So That's very big, in knowing and making sure that you stick to it. And another thing is make sure that you're already in purpose. She should already find you moving in that purpose. She should come and the vision should already be there. I'm not telling you someone that was a practitioner of it. I had a little bit of a problem with that. I'm telling you, it's harder to get in and now try to figure out what's your purpose and your calling and try to deal with y'all relational issues. You still trying to figure yourself out while you're still being married. That stuff is going to be very hard. Getting your purpose, getting your calling, walk in that, and while you walking in that, God will send the woman that you're looking for and that you desire. He gave the man work first, before he brought the woman on. And so making sure that you're walking in that purpose. Those are my 3 things I would definitely say
And
single men need to have.
I was gonna say another thing as far as women, because Namdi swear I pursued him. I made myself available. And I made myself.
You pursued me.
I didn't pursue you.
I got receipts, but
because
it is what it
pursuing
is.
is like, hey, would you go on a date with me? Like, hey, would
Okay, you did make yourself available.
I just made myself seen, and so I know for a lot of ladies,
What did
like,
that look like?
How'd you make yourself available? You want to tell them, or you want me to tell them?
you ready for that?
Somebody tell 'em.
Yeah.
I mean, let's hear your story.
So, I mean, well, first off, I did not realize this until hindsight, like till we was first. I was like, you've kind of been knocking on my door for a while. Well, before
No, I haven't.
before we actually got to being like friends and all these other things, I remember I look back at our old messages and she would
okay,
say,
I don't want you to tell this, baby.
you want to go there?
No, we didn't discuss this.
Okay, never mind.
No, I'm just playing. Go ahead. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
All I'm gonna say is you say it, but no, but she had little stuff where she'd be like, hey, I was working in retail. She's like, I'm about to come up. I want to probably get an upgrade. Never show up. You know, most men, I didn't know this because unfortunately I was a little naive. I ain't gonna lie. I guess most men see that as an end for women. It's like, hey, I'm waving at you. Now you can DM me a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, great, you know. And then next was you was looking for it. I told people I'm looking for people for my store. She's supposed to come for a job. That never happened, you know. And then one time said that I was, hey, did you just add me on Snapchat?
Yeah.
That was a little bit right before we started talking. I'm like, I don't even got Snapchat,
Yeah.
you know. So
Sweet
now looking
potato
back,
pies.
she was doing it. Yeah. Then eventually she ended up at my door when I moved into the same area that she was, and she brought food to me. And sweet potato pie, I love sweet potato pie.
Yeah.
If you went on my Facebook at that time, when she probably did her research, she brought that to me. So
Yeah.
she was pursuing, and when we got
I
to,
wasn't pursuing.
I feel like you
No,
was.
I said
And
yeah.
then, hold, tell me if this ain't pursuing. One day I come out to my car and it was her. She had did her first EP. She had put "Have a Great Day" on there, and it was on her first EP, and put it on my windshield.
I don't know if
I just
that's
walk out to my
pursuing.
car.
You think that was
So would you say?
I wouldn't say it was pursuing,
Yeah.
but it was definitely expressing interest.
Yes.
Okay.
100. See,
I
there we go.
guess.
Can we come
Okay,
to that
now we got
agreement?
somebody as a third
Thank
party.
If she
you.
was texting you like, "Hey, can I take you out tonight?" That's
Exactly.
pursuing.
That's
Okay.
when I think of
All
a
right.
pursuit. That's an ongoing
That's more
journey.
aggressive.
It is.
She was being assertive, not aggressive.
Yes, thank you. And you know, I just
that's
told you
good.
about that too.
Yeah.
Assertive and the difference, but. I think a lot of women deal with pride in that sense. Like, he better slide in my DM. Girl, slide in that man's DM. Go ahead and let him know that you look great today. Like
Man of God.
Man of God. Okay, I love how you did that presentation at work today. Like, because it's those little things that men, I don't even think you knew you needed. Like the small comments, the small affirmations, like just, oh, that was great job singing today at church. Oh, I love the way you did that. And so I think I just made myself available. But I was so young back then that I also wasn't aware that you were supposed to be prideful about something. I'm like, I see a man, he look good to me, and yeah, that's that.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you was-
here.
I'm here, and I'm single. and
Yeah,
you're
you was
single.
operating at a higher level than women that was closer to my age at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Because she wasn't dealing with the baggage that those women had.
Facts.
That's good. No, that's real.
Yes, that was
that's
one of
real.
your
That was
biggest-
one of my. Oh, that was also one of my non-negotiables. And please, women, do not kill me for this, okay? Please do not. Not saying this is everybody,
Begin to
but
pray.
for me, I had dealt with so many women with daddy issues, and I said. So one of my first questions to her was, "Hey, how are you and your daddy? How's your relationship?" And when she said, "I love my daddy,"
I'm a
da, da,
daddy's
da, da, da,
girl.
she started talking
He
about.
said,
I said, "Boom, there we go. Finally, yes." And I knew that she was gonna be good. That's where she doesn't have that issue, man. So she
Yeah.
loves on me. First woman, like be honest with you, I learned how to love from my wife. She taught me how to love. Like she made me feel kind of mushy inside. Like when she said, man, you stand like a king. Like, what type of stuff? I ain't never heard no woman say nothing like that. I do? She's like, yeah, you stand like a king. And then when she first left me a love letter, I didn't know that people still did that. And so she started to show me, okay, this is how I also want to be loved too. So because even earlier in our marriage, she's like, hey, you can also do the same thing. And so I started sending her notes. And we both got like now boxes of just letters from years and years of just showing love just randomly. Like, hey, I love you. I'm glad that we're going to do life together. You're the most amazing thing in my life. Yeah. You know, so I learned how to love from my wife.
So I was about to ask both of you, and I guess I still will, but I was about to ask both of you to give advice for couples who are just starting out on their journey in marriage. And I love what you just said about the love notes. I think that for so many people who have so much going on, life be lifing. I'm dealing with my own stuff. You dealing with your own stuff. We coming together trying to figure these kids out. To sit down and just pour your heart out in a letter when you don't necessarily have time to do that throughout the day, or you haven't told your wife what she means to you in the last year. Right? I think that is some good advice. Write a letter.
Write a letter.
Right? Husband,
come on.
Write me a letter. Please. Any other advice for the married couples out there on their journey?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if you're not considerate, like, pray about everything that you want to be. Like, if you want to be kind, pray, God, help me to be kind. If you want to be more submissive, God, help me to be more submissive. You want to be more thoughtful, help me to be thoughtful. Because a lot of us did not sit down in somebody's class and be taught how to be a wife or a husband. And so one that comes with spiritually connecting to God, because he has all the answers, help me do this. But then, like, actively practically look up ways to do that. Me and Namdi both, he looking up ways to be masculine on YouTube. I'm looking up stuff on how to be feminine. So don't be afraid to, like, get help in that, even if it's as small as femininity, as small as submission. But the small things that you can start with is, I'm gonna say this over and over again, is your words. Like, how can you wake up every day and just say one thing that'll stick to them? Just, good morning, my king. Good morning. Whatever your love language is, building up an environment that's nurturing. Like, I know I'm gonna wake up and Namdi's gonna say good morning beautifuls to my daughters, and he gonna say good morning queen to me. I know I can look forward to that. I know I can look forward to something being poured into me. So go out of your way, as the Bible talks about, going the extra mile. Go out of your way. If you cooking dinner and you make his plate, like, just wipe the gravy off the side. Like, make it pretty. Like, just, it's literally the smallest things that, especially for men, like, y'all, they are so easy to please because they literally just want to be honored, respected, and loved.
Yeah, I would say for, like, I think you said, like, new couples and all, I would say one of the biggest things is don't give up early. Because what I hear from most people, we're not the first ones who say that first 1 to 2 to 3 years or whatever was really, really, really rough. I believe, spiritually, I believe that the enemy comes against a lot of marriages. He's trying to break it down early, get it over with, because he can demolish the family. That's why now we see, the women that are more masculine and now the men aren't. And it's because we can go back to the 80s and the 90s and the men being locked up and all those different things there. So I just believe that you want to make sure you don't give up, because you don't never know who's on the other side of you actually surviving. That's a big thing. Like, if we hadn't got to where we're at right now, her inbox wouldn't be full. My inbox wouldn't be full with people that's just saying, man, y'all blessing us, man. Like, I just got married, man. Oh, my marriage was going through an issue, whatever. Like, somebody is on the other end of y'all fight. Man, don't give up early. Don't get knocked out the ring. Stay in that bad boy. And guess what? As you continue to go, you're going to grow stronger through all of those things. You're going to be able to stand up to so many big-time spiritual battles, man. You're going to be able to do that. So I would say that. Also, don't forget, this is something that we found out recently. Don't forget to date. Like, when did y'all? Hold on. When did dating become just Netflixing and chilling? Like, what? Like,
the men don't know what to do, babe.
No, you look it up. I don't care if you just go on a dinner date or whatever. I believe we consistently, for the most part, except for maybe like a month or so. Or well, usually even back in the past, like we went on consistent dates
For sure, every 2 weeks.
at least every 2 weeks, and if not at least once per month.
Yeah.
Do not let a month go by that y'all don't go and just sit and chill. Most of the time when we were having issues was because we were like lifing, like you said, just lifing and doing this and other. You going to work and all that, and we just haven't got to sit down and really talk to our friend and realize how cool it was. One of the biggest things that I found out was like it's really dope once we went on trips. We went on trips together and we got away from just having the kids and all the stuff back home. Then I'm like, dang, you cold. First off, you cold as heck. First off, looking at that body, you feel me? Okay. You cold as heck, number one. But I like kicking it with you.
Yes.
Like I like just going out with you. I like laughing at the stuff that we laugh at and vibing with each other, man. Make sure you dating each other.
Do y'all have drinks on y'all dates?
Yes,
definitely.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
For sure.
Okay.
We know there could be a negative connotation for like is Christian supposed to? No. Read your word. Don't drink it to drunkenness. Like
Chocolate martini me.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is it just wine? But no.
No.
You said chocolate martini. Okay.
Yeah,
Spicy.
and I mean, like you said, there's also like we do have standards around that though. You ain't gonna catch me on nobody's bar twerking, doing crazy. We're not getting drunk. We're not, just gonna go all the way out.
Tipsy?
I mean, I think that's
If
what
it's
comes.
if it's just like us, maybe on
But
a
you're not gonna be publicly intoxicated.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like
At
with a
home, for
bunch
sure.
of like new believers or anything like that.
Yes.
Like we watch who we do certain things around because they're not ready for that. For us, we can do it in moderation. Like I
Right.
can have a sip and I don't need no more.
Right.
But for that new person who's actually just coming to Christ or anything like that, and they don't, and that was a struggle for them, that could take them way over. Like, oh, Namdi's doing. He been a believer for 6, 7, 8 years, whatever. Oh, cool. Let me have. And he's doing the same old things he was doing back in the streets.
Yeah, everyone doesn't have self-control, so we do watch who we're around. So if we meet somebody new, we're going to have a good glass of water.
Come on, good glass of water.
Strawberry
A
lemonade.
good strawberry lemonade, okay? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have enjoyed this conversation.
we've
It was
enjoyed it.
just as juicy as I knew it was going to be.
Oh, juicy.
Juicy with goodness.
Okay.
Yes,
And we
come
got a
on.
little bit in y'all business.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Just a
good.
little bit. But I
that.
think that it was inspiring for so many people. You guys
I want to say something. First off, I want to thank you. Thank you for having us on. Like really, really thank you for us because we're new in this and you've been doing this. I mean, over 750,000 downloads. All that
heavy
when it comes to
hitter.
podcasts, that's big.
Yeah.
But also, like I told you, guys speak to me in confirmation. She was the one telling me we need to lean into relationships. And I'm like, babe, like we only been married. We about to be like in a relationship 8 years, 7. Nobody trying to like. I don't really think that's what
you
we
mean
need to
talking
do.
about it on
yeah,
our
talking about it on our
Yes.
podcast, and I was just so insecure about it. But when we went to that podcast brunch that one day, you was like,
you
was like,
did do that.
She was the one who,
I forgot.
She's the reason why we leaned into that, and now it's like we motivate the common couple to become extraordinary and
so
singles and receive God's best in
crazy.
relationships.
Girl,
It's
don't be
because of-
forgetting that, girl.
I did.
I will
because I
always-
have been saying that. I don't know if you remember me telling you. I'm like, girl, I've been trying to tell him. Like, I've been trying to
You
tell
told me that.
him.
when we got in the car, she
Yes.
sit up here like, my
I know, I was hitting the
God,
I
I've been telling you. She sit there punching on the daggone dashboard, and I'm just
Y'all,
like,
this was out of
I'm
excitement.
like, oh my, yeah. It
out of
wasn't like
excitement.
bad,
Yeah.
but it was just like laughing and just glad. But
Yeah.
had you not like talked to us separately after when you got off the stage and just confirmed that like, yes, there's a lane there.
Yes.
I mean,
we need y'all.
Yeah.
We would not have
Thank
been
you
doing
for
it. So
saying
thank
that.
you.
Yes.
I mean, it would no question, none, like no question, because of this space that I'm in, which is the same space.
Yes.
It's not enough representation.
Okay.
Especially that is a unique perspective. That's a realistic perspective. When you talk about the baby mamas, even though he don't want you to talk about it, that is something that people are dealing with.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
No,
You
for real.
cannot talk about it all day, but it's somebody going through it.
Oh,
and so
yeah,
for people
for
to
sure.
say they're not trying to appear perfect, but what is it that they're doing? What is it that's bringing them joy? How can I have a little bit of that?
Yes.
I think that is
Yes.
necessary.
Yes.
So
Thank
I
you.
just can't wait to see what comes of it.
Yeah.
Don't forget your girl, okay?
We never
Girl
will.
Stop.
No.
Girl, stop playing, okay?
No, that was a pivotal moment. We will never.
Look,
forget.
Yeah,
I love it for
never
y'all.
forget.
I
Yes.
love it.
Thank you,
forgot
so
though.
much.
But you're not gonna forget it. You ain't gonna forget it again.
That's such a big moment. I'm like, dang,
It was
you did
it was
do
it was
that.
my thing though. It was my thing that God had to
Yeah.
confirm to me. And then when she said it to us, I was sitting there like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
Lord,
It right there.
this
But
woman
it
right
also-
here been telling me.
It
all
also
along.
takes a woman that is well within herself to be like, girl, yes.
To pour into others.
Yeah, to be like, girl, yes, do that. I don't care. Come in the game. Let's we
Yeah.
need that. Like
It's
it
more
takes
space.
it
Like,
takes this is why I separately, even out of what we do, like I'm trying my best to encourage women to like walk in their thing, because if you had not spoken that, I don't know what we would have been doing on our podcast. We might have still been reacting to whatever we was reacting to, but because you were secure in your lane, you were sure in who you were, you could motivate someone else, and now here we are living out our calling. So yes, thank you.
To the moon, baby.
Okay.
I can't wait to see.
Yes.
And when y'all start having couples, me and my husband gonna come do y'all show.
For sure.
Yes.
We working some
Yes.
things out now.
Wink,
so
wink.
yes, thank you.
Yes.
Y'all heard that, right?
He heard. Look.
She's on camera, guys.
The world heard it. I'm gonna make sure we drop the info to your podcast below. Make sure y'all stay connected with them. You probably already seen their clips. You just ain't know it was them.
Right.
So go check out their page, subscribe to their show, so they can get the word out. It's so needed, y'all. I truly, truly believe that there is a perfect partner out there being prepared to love you properly. You just got to get in position.
Yeah.
I love you, got nothing but love for you, and I thank you so, so much for tuning in to another episode of Girl Stop Playin'. I'll see you next week.